All right, Joe, we got the great Mr. David Wise in the house. Composer of Donkey Kong Country, here to talk music and more. Give me that countdown, buddy.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Get over here! Hi, I'm martial art master Daniel Pacino. You know me as the original Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, and Smoke. You are tuning in to NerdCage Live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Don't miss an episode or you'll get caged. So let's finish him.
Hey everybody, this is Dave Niebuhr from Dog Eat Dog, and you're watching NerdCage Live. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel. These are great guys doing what they love to do.
This is Ernie C. from Body Count. You're tuned in to NerdCage. Can you like and subscribe?
Hey guys, this is the original Shao Kahn, Brian Glenn, and I'd like you to subscribe to NerdCage Live.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Doc Coyle, the man from Bad Wolves and God Forbid. I wanted to let you know right now, please subscribe to NerdCage Live.
Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. This is Robert Meyer Burnett, and I'm telling you to go get in the cage, the NerdCage Live. And you watch, you like, you subscribe. And you come back and you hear some cogent discourse about all things nerdy. NerdCage Live, do it.
Hi, my name is Kev Bayliss, designer or redesigner of Donkey Kong, designer of Diddy Kong, Jago, Enderkurken, and Whizpig. You can't beat me! But what you want to do is subscribe to NerdCage, the YouTube channel. Just go there, subscribe, because you know it makes sense. And that's that.
Hi, Heather the Eatheart here. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow NerdCage Live.
It has begun.
If what you say is true, the Shaolin
And the NerdCage
could be dangerous.
Greetings, citizens. You're now trapped in a NerdCage. We hope you have a smashing good time.
You're now about to witness the strength of geek knowledge. Hello and welcome. That's right. Once again, you are trapped in NerdCage Live. This channel is a celebration of all things pop culture, including Donkey Kong Country and the music of it. So if you're new to the channel, hello. Please hit that like button and subscribe. Share with everybody you know. Helps us more than you know, because we're on our way to 5K. I'm your co-host, Jay St. G, certified geek, 7 days a week, coming to you live from yours truly, the land of the orange of Syracuse, New York. And it's our moderator and troll hammer, Joe of FallenOne Gaming, do the honors, man.
Yes, today we have the legendary composer of Donkey Kong Country and many others, Mr. David Wise. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you for inviting me on.
We appreciate you being here. Joe, before we go any further, who do we got in the chat tonight?
Oh, we have a loaded chat tonight. We have Artar11. We have Music Creator Capable. We're in the chat. We got Tavia Smoka, Max 83, 021, and Buck Nasty of the Round One podcast.
Well, we appreciate everybody being here. So listen, real quick, guys, we'll go over this real quick. I know that we're gonna try our best to get to everybody's questions, but hey, we got some stuff to promote real quick. So Joe, tonight at 8 o'clock over on Twitch.
Yes, more Donkey Kong Bonanza.
And then Joe, Monday, 6 o'clock Eastern.
Yes, we will be doing a spoiler discussion for Fantastic Four First Steps.
And for you Donkey Kong fans, we have another Donkey Kong guest next Thursday, July 31st, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, Hyle Russell of The Conversation will be on the show to talk all things DK Bonanza.
Yes, and of course, get yourself a NerdCage Live t-shirt, any size, any color. Doesn't matter if you're short, skinny, big and fat. It don't matter. We love them all. Our t-shirts go from small all the way to 5XL. The link to our TeePublic is in the description of this video, this live stream, and across the vast lands of social media where we also are live, Joe.
Yes, if you want to get us on Twitter or Instagram, both handles are at @nerd_cage. Our link to our Discord is in the description. Become a member there as well. And our Facebook discussion group, that is NerdCage Nation. We love everything you guys put up there. No spoilers, no politics, and for God's sakes, keep it civil.
All right, enough of us here. We have a fantastic guest here. Less than a year ago, we had Kev Bayless of Platonic Games and Rare from Donkey Kong Country on here, and we spoke to him and said, hey, what about your friend Mr. David Wise here? So really appreciate you being here, Mr. Wise. But first and foremost, before we get started, this wasn't part of the plan here. We received the tragic news, the Ozzy Osbourne passed away. So before we go into your career, David, did you know Ozzy at all? Did you work with him, or were you a fan of Sabbath or Ozzy?
I didn't know him, but when I first started playing guitar, then the Smoke on the Water was the thing, wasn't it? So obviously it came across the music of Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely an amazing catalog there, and his music meant a lot to us. And I know as a musician, I definitely had to ask that question. So you mentioned playing guitar, Mr. Wise. So I just want to ask you, how did music come into your life? Did you grow up in like a musical household? Like, when did you first learn to pick up an instrument? What was the first instrument you played?
The first instrument I played was probably the piano. My mum had a piano in our dining room when we were growing up, so she used to play it. My brother was having piano lessons, and things weren't quite as easy as they are now. So money was quite tight. They couldn't afford to send me for piano lessons, even though I wanted to go. So I picked it up by ear.
That's awesome. Now, were you trained, like, did you go to like the music school or any like musical, or did you take any classes when growing up too?
No, I went for some piano lessons. There was a local piano teacher not far from where we lived, so I went there for a few years and just to learn how to play the piano. And I also went to play trumpet in a local brass band, local Ratby brass band of all things. And that's where I learned to play the trumpet. I also used to play flugelhorn, and then I moved to percussion after that because I wanted to play drums. Wow. And then that got a bit boring, so I decided to go and play drums in a local punk band when I was probably about 14 or 15.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, drums are a bit more, as you can see, I've got several drums in the studio here with me. They're a bit more rock and roll than playing in a brass band.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going through your music catalog here over on iTunes, or excuse me, Apple Music. I know I listened to your jazz album. I know you also did a pop collaboration and whatnot. So yeah, I see you got a bit of everything, and of course, you know, we'll get to the gaming side in a little bit here. But what currently, as far as like, I know you have your solo material, you got your jazz material, but what other musical projects do you have that you're juggling right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure that David Wise and the jazz thing is this David Wise. It might be another David Wise altogether. Just saying. So.
Okay. Because yeah, there was a lot of David Wise material I was listening to.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it might not be me, Ida. I've definitely kept it more towards video games, and if it wasn't video games, it might be quite rocky or certainly upbeat. Jazz, not really my thing.
Oh, okay. So, so yeah, because I got you on Apple Music, and there's So maybe some of the stuff I was checking out wasn't really you. I'm just like.
It could be somebody else.
BJ, you're supporting other musicians already.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there are quite a few people called David Wise doing lots of different things. Like there's a skier in America who's pretty good, freestyle skier. I'm not sure whether he's American or Canadian. But yeah, he got the gold in the Winter Olympics for the last 2 Winter Olympics, also called David Wise. And in Ashby, which wasn't far from Ultimate Play the Game before they became Rare Limited, there was a vicar there called David Wise. Definitely wasn't me.
Okay. So there's a lot of copycats out there.
I think so, yeah. Just taking on the name, trying to be cool.
All right, now, Mr. Wise, obviously, I just mentioned earlier we had Kev Bayless on the show last year. So, how'd you end up linking up with those guys, and how'd you find yourself into the gaming industry as well?
So, I mean, obviously, I've known Kev for, I don't know, a few decades now, and we obviously got to know each other because of working at Rare. And I got into games almost by accident. I was working in a music shop selling drums, of all things. And I got a bit bored of selling drums because most of the interesting stuff was downstairs. I was upstairs, Billy No Mates, trying to sell drums to people who didn't want to buy them. Whereas downstairs, I had all the keyboards and stuff. And that was quite sociable. So I felt a bit isolated upstairs and needed to go downstairs. And company came in called Yamaha. They had a music computer called the CX5, and they wanted somebody to learn it. But my dad was really into computers, and of course, it's, you know, you don't want to do what your dad does. So I decided I didn't really want to learn how to do a computer until they came in a few months later and said, "Look, nobody's learned how to use this computer." And the boss of the shop I was working in, he said, "Look, anybody who wants to learn this gets an extra day off a week." And at that point, I was sold. So, so I took it home. The whole manual was in Japanese, so it was quite hard to learn. But I figured it out, and I could get it working. And I hooked it up to lots of other synths that were in the shop, and drum machines and things like that. It's early days of MIDI, so it's kind of early in the cycle of being able to link things with computers and other instruments together. But I was doing Duran Duran hits and things like that, and We Close Our Eyes by Go West, lots of 80s stuff. And I got it all demoed up. And 2 guys walked into the shop, Tim and Chris Stamper, and they wanted a demonstration. So I was playing some 80s stuff, and then I ran out of stuff. And they said, "Have you got anything else?" So I sort of apologetically said, "Yeah, I've got some of my own stuff," and played it to them. And they sort of turned to each other and said, "Yeah, Monsters." And I was, "Monsters, is that good or bad?" I wasn't quite sure. And they said, "Have you got an office?" So I thought, great, I've sold another system. I was selling quite a few of those a week at the time. We got upstairs, and they offered me a job to go and work at Rare. So they bought all the equipment I've been demonstrating, and off I went to the deepest shires of Warwickshire, to a place called Twycross, which was where they'd formed this company called Rare Limited.
Wow. And what year was that?
Oh, that'd be in 1985, so a couple of years ago now.
Okay, and so my question to you would be, what was the first like project, or what was the first game that you started making music for at that time?
The first game I started making music for was a game called Slalom. It was on the Nintendo Entertainment System, the 8-bit system.
Yes.
But I think the first game that came out was probably on the Spectrum, ZX Spectrum, and it was only one channel. So I wrote one tune for that, and that probably came out before Slalom.
All right, and obviously this is during the 8-bit era. So how did I'm just generally curious there, because how did the compression process work when you compose music for a video game at that time for an 8-bit system? How do they like compress it down to make it fit into the game that size?
Yeah, at that point, the memory and the technology was really very basic. You couldn't play something on the keyboard and hear it in the game. It just wasn't going to work. So I had to work out all the notes had a value, and then they'd have another hex value, which is base 16. So we work in computer code, and there'd be a length as well. So you put the pitch in and the length, and then you type in a series of notes, data strings, and you'd have to assemble the data, and then you could hear it back. And yeah, it was quite hard work.
Yeah, I only can imagine. Joe, we have a really good question in the chat. I want to fetch that from
Yeah, I see that. Yoshiki asks, if Rare hadn't hired you, what path do you think you would have followed?
Well, I'd have probably gone down to London and tried to work in a studio as a programmer for keyboards and that kind of stuff. I'd have probably gone down that path. So I might have got to the same place or a similar place eventually. But that one came up, so it seemed like an unusual one to go for. So I'm pleased I went for that one, because that was quite a different path.
Oh, we're so glad you got with Rare.
Thank you.
All right, now, oh man, I'm just trying my best not to jump out of my skin here, because I know I got so many Donkey Kong questions. So before Donkey Kong Country happened,
yes.
How many games did you do for Rare prior to Donkey Kong, and were there any other games that you did music for?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go on, I forget the name of the thing. There's like this online thing where you type information and it gives you all the games I worked on. So there's probably about 30 8-bit games that I'd worked on before I got around to Donkey Kong.
Okay.
Well, when we were at Rare, we used to do a lot of conversions of other games, things like Double Jeopardy and things like that, Marble Madness. So we take a game and we make a version of it, or we take a system and make a game out of it. Okay. They weren't always the best games in the world, but it was a game, and it was early days, so it was all part of the education and process. Because going back to the sound chip at the time, there were only 4 voices on it. One was a noise chip, and then there were 2 square wave channels, or pulse wave channels, and then there's a triangle wave, which sounds like an owl hooting. So it's really basic stuff. So we didn't really need the compression at that point. It's just that it was very, very basic, which is why all those early 8-bit games sound very basic, really. Quite uninvolved.
Thank God for Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's it. Wikipedia.
I have a list here. I'll just kind of go over some of the hits. Wizards and Warriors.
Yep, absolutely.
Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, WWF WrestleMania.
Yeah.
There you go. California Games.
Yeah.
I remember that. Wow. Blast from the Past. Yeah. Go. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Trying to just go over some of these hits here. Double Dare. Snake Rattle and Roll.
I remember that one.
Super Glove Ball.
Yeah. There was
WWF WrestleMania Challenge. Oh, the Amazing Spider-Man from Game Boy from 1990.
Yeah.
Wow.
Super Off-Road. So there's quite a bit here.
There's a few.
I can understand why it's kind of hard to remember them all. I mean, Donkey Kong Country didn't even hit till '94, and there's quite a bit before that. So
you
were busy. You were a busy guy.
I was, yeah. Donkey Kong Country took about a year to do. Some of those games took a week, maybe 2 weeks. So they didn't take long at all by comparison. There's a lot more work that went into Donkey Kong Country.
All right, Joe, I think we can segue now.
Yeah, we got quite a bit for Donkey Kong Country, so we'll delve in.
All right, so Mr. Wise, we already got this perspective from Kev, so I want to get your perspective. What happened and what was it like when Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto, and all of them, when they approached Rare about doing a Donkey Kong game? Like, what was going through your mind? Like, oh my, like, and what was, like, how was it, like, you know, I'm sure, you know, everybody knew what Donkey Kong was in the 80s, so, what was that process like when you guys got the call to do this brand new Donkey Kong game and all that stuff?
Let me see. You see, for me, I'm not really from a gaming background. I'm more from a musical background. But
okay.
I had the Atari, you know, early Atari thing with ping pong type thing. So that was the first game I played, and then there were games in pubs that we used to play, which I was quite familiar with. So we'd seen Donkey Kong before, you know, the original game that was on the arcade. So yeah, I didn't really know much about Donkey Kong when I knew that I was going to work on it, apart from that it had been quite big for Nintendo. So it was a bit of a learning curve. I went and played, there was an 8-bit system on the Game Boy, which is really, really cool. It's like a puzzle game for Donkey Kong. And I've really enjoyed that one. Don't know what it was called, but it might have been Mario and Donkey Kong or something. It was something like that. Loads of puzzles, really intriguing game. So that was really my sort of foray into Donkey Kong at that point. And obviously I played, you know, I was aware of the that theme, and that was one of the first things I took and did something with for the Super NES.
I was about to ask you that. So that was the first song. Okay. All right. Now that was the first thing I was going to ask you. So now my next question, before we start breaking down some of these songs here, we're going into the 16-bit era now.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit more wiggle room to play with as far as music and compression. So
yeah, so instead of having 4 channels, we now had 8 channels, and I knew we could use samples. So I'd got all these great ideas about being able to sample my drums, my saxophone, trumpet, and all these other instruments, maybe a whole orchestra. And so I've got big ideas, big plans for this sampling system, and having 8 channels, I thought it'd be really cool. That's before I knew there was only going to be 64K on it, which is about 400 milliseconds, so less than half a second of sampling time. So obviously we had to make a few compromises to get things to fit into the game.
But that's just the amazing thing there, because not only that graphically they took these pre-rendered 3D graphics into a 16-bit cartridge, which still to this day was so mind-blowing. I was 8 years old, by the way, at the time.
Okay, cool.
It was the most amazing. It was the most amazing thing I ever seen in my life at the time. At 8 years old, seeing these 3D graphics in Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo, and what also is just as amazing is the music that they got in there. Like, you listen to any video game, a 16-bit video game, and you hear the music, and you're just like, yeah, that's a 16-bit sound. But when you listen to the soundtrack of Donkey Kong Country, it doesn't sound like 16-bit. It actually sounds like, you know, live music. It doesn't sound compressed or anything. So it's just so mind-blowing that you and the Rare team were able to not only to compress 3D graphics, but you're able to compress music and not make it sound like it was compressed, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I've heard that you kind of push the equipment to its extreme limits to get some of that sound. How was that process? How did that come about?
Robin Beanland, who he was working with us at the time, and he got this Korg wave station, and it sounded absolutely lovely. Really nice Japanese keyboard. And you played a note on it, and it would expand, and all these nice sounds come out of it. And one thing I noticed about that, he used really small samples in there, and it can play them back rhythmically, or it can crossfade one to the other, but it's always changing, so it creates a lot of movement. It sounds bigger than the how it should really. And I thought, you know, I could probably reverse engineer that and get it working on the Super NES. So the first track I did that on was Aquatic Ambience, and the bass line is just taking little waveforms, playing ding, 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 eights. And that's the bass line. And that was the first time I got it working. Took weeks, by the way, to get that thing working because it was all coded. There's no, you can play a preset on the keyboard and it worked for you. It was a lot more high level than that. You'd have to, you know, jump in and really get your hands dirty and program it up. So it took quite a long time to get working. It's about 5 weeks, but after 5 weeks, I got that system working. And as soon as we got that system working, it sounded nice. It sounded, it didn't sound a 16-bit. It sounded much bigger than that. And once we got that working, then we were okay to carry on with the rest of it.
That is awesome. And also, I just want to point out too, before, because I already got my next question ready for you, but before we get into that, I just want to let you know that not only that your imagination, your music really like floored me, you know, to this day, but like I listen to your music on a regular basis because I like to put on music in the background to help me go to sleep. And one of my go-tos is the Donkey Kong Country sound, like 1 and 2. It's like my go-to. You know, I go to sleep to that all the time. So just want to let you know that your music is not only that affected me playing the game, but has affected me in my regular life because I need your music to help me go to sleep or just, you know, have some background music on while I'm, you know, by myself and stuff like that. So I just want to let you know that. So, and of
That's
course,
very kind. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. So, and of course, we're always floored by, you just mentioned it, Aquatic Ambience. So, before we actually break some of that down here, when you start doing the music for, well, this probably applies to like all the you know, video game music you've done, but like, when you get inspired, do you see the game and then you do the music for it, or do they like say, hey, we're gonna what can you come up with for something like this? Like, how did that work? So when you made music, did you see the game and see the levels first, or did you come up with it on the fly? Did they describe it to you? How did that go down?
Yeah, normally they will show me the level. When I'm working, I like to see what I'm working on, and whilst I'm working, I'll probably have a video on in the background so I can see, because that gives you the kind of tempo of the game and how you should be moving through the level, which is really important. Then you can start putting flesh on the bone, so to speak. But having that initial tempo and seeing what the pace should be is critical to getting a video game score working. So I'd seen the water and the movement. So we'd seen the characters swimming through the water. And so once I got, because it's a bit, you know, it's not as quick as running, is it? So we've got that pad sound, which kind of slows everything down. Then it's a bit mysterious. So there's a high note that's going up in the background, which you don't really recognize, but it goes with the chord. And then we've got this pulsating rhythm in the background. So for me, that kind of worked as a watery type tune. So that's where that came from. So it's essential to be able to see the graphics working as a working level.
Okay, yeah, it's just still, my mind is blown how you came up with that. Like, I mean, there's so many layers to Aquatic Ambience. Like, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. So like,
So I mean, you're saying as well, it's quite relaxing.
Yeah.
I find writing music quite meditative. So, you know, if you're struggling with whatever you're struggling with at the time, by writing music, you can pour your heart and soul into it and work your way through it. And it seems to take away life's hardships and does the opposite. So it's quite a meditative process, and that clearly shows in the final result, because people still listen to it and say they quite enjoy it, which I'm very pleased about, obviously.
And my other question is, how many tracks and how many instruments went into Aquatic Ambience?
There's only 8 voices, but there's probably more instruments. I had to break things down into small waveforms. So if I wanted a filter sweep, there's no filter sweep function. There's no resonant filter on the hardware. So what I did, I went through and I got a saw wave with a very pronounced resonant peak, and then I changed the cutoff frequency and sampled it down to a single cycle. And then when you step through all of those 20 or 30 cycles, that's how you get the movement in the sound. So that's kind of a bit, I don't know if you're not a musician or you're not really into
technical stuff,
synthesizers that might not make any sense, but by breaking it down and doing it multiple times, we could recreate, or I could recreate some of the sounds that you wouldn't normally hear in a Super NES.
Okay, now shifting gears, same game. And it's the song that it's the most recognizable song, probably the in every Donkey Kong game, and it's become like the Donkey Kong's theme. So Jungle Hijinks, how did you come up with Jungle Hijinks and that dun 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 dun, all that the drums, all that, and of course the chorus, like how'd you come up with that? And you know, if you want to give us a story on how.
Okay, I mean, to be honest, I mean that really was the first piece I worked on for Donkey Kong. So the theme tune came later, but obviously it's the first one you hear when you put the cartridge in. So composition is, by its nature, its definition is to get lots of different things and put them together. So I listened to as many jungly type things as possible. So I'd be listening to Tarzan, I'd be listening to any pop tune in the last 10 years before we wrote Donkey Kong that was jungle related, just to get ideas. And obviously bongos, drums and stuff, it's very jungly, isn't it?
Yeah.
And claves as well. And so I put this demo together on, I had a keyboard called an Ensoniq TS10 or TS12, I think it was. So I put it together on that, and then I had to get it to work on the Super NES. But it was really getting the ideas for the sounds working that was the hard bit. So there's lots of influences in there.
And I have to ask you this question: did you see the Mario movie a couple years ago?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I've got to be honest. I've seen little bits of it on YouTube. So I don't know if there's any of my music.
That's what I was just about to tell you. Your theme, your Jungle Hijinks, does not necessarily how exactly copy and paste, but they definitely use Jungle Hijinks in the movie. I don't know, Joe, if you want to.
Yeah, they kind of modified it a little bit, but yes, they used basically your influence to make the music in the movie for the Donkey Kong segment. So
okay, yeah, I haven't really seen it yet, but I must. I keep meaning to, and life it gets in the way. So
Well, it ain't going anywhere. It'll be there.
Yeah. So anyway, what my point was being is, like, ever since you wrote that Jungle Hijinks theme, it's been used over and over again, modified over and over again. Word on the street is they even use it in the Donkey Kong theme park at Universal.
Which I'm going to.
I saw that. Somebody showed me a video, and it was the Universal Studios. I'm not sure whether it's in Japan or the one in America. And they're walking around and they're in the Bond bit, and you've got the Bond theme playing, and then they sort of go around the corner and there's Donkey Kong theme, and there's some of my music playing, and that's a huge kind of oh my god,
but like every single game Donkey Kong appears in, whether it's Smash Bros, they use that theme. And again, what Joe and I just mentioned, they played a modified version of your theme in the movie. I remember when we were watching the movie opening night, like I elbowed Joe, like, they're playing the Donkey Kong music. Like, I got all excited because I wasn't really. I was expecting it, but at the same time I wasn't expecting it, so I got excited. Like, oh my god, they're actually playing the Donkey Kong theme. Like, yeah. So I just want to let you know, like that theme, that iconic thing that you did, has been used over and over again. It's like how everybody identifies like Donkey Kong. So, so congrats on that. Like,
thank you very much. That's good to know. Yeah.
And I'll say right now, two of my favorites. And they're wildly different from each other, but two of my favorites. One is Latice Sabagh, just because I think you could use that in any action film, and that would work. I mean, that's a pretty good one. And I think another one that's probably right up there with Aquatic Ambience would be Sticker Brush Symphony. There's a lot going on in that song.
So look, Jaws Saga, which level is that for?
That's the one with the fish that kind of try to bite you, and it'll turn into lava if you don't ice it down. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, the wreck ship.
Another
the
one
wreck
of those
ship,
water levels.
the wreck ship level where the fish, if you touch the water, fish will automatically kill you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's on Donkey Kong Country 2.
Yeah, it's the second one. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I mean, I know what Aquatic Ambience is now. It's the water level, and but for me, a lot of the names I still don't know. For me, it will always be like the forest level, or the water level, or the cloud level, or something like that. So what they're actually called, I've got, I might not know, just to set expectations there.
No, that's fine. Mr. Wise, actually back to the first game. Another question I had for you is the cave level. I was just curious, when you did the cave music for Donkey Kong Country, what fascinated me was like that you use like sound effects as music. Like you hear like the water dripping, but it goes with the music.
Yeah. Some of the reason. I mean, there's a couple of threads there. And to be honest, it was Tim Stampo was the artistic director, really good artist, and he was driving the company really. It was mainly his idea, and I took it and ran with it. But the other side of it is because we didn't have any space to have a separate sound effect. We only had 8 channels, so we couldn't dedicate channels just to sound effects. I integrate the sound effects in with the tune, which seemed like a logical thing to do, because then you could have sound effects and then you could have tune as well. And so that's where the style came from. It's by putting sound effects into the tune, you've solved 2 problems. You've got the rhythm, you've got sound effects at the same time. So that's where it comes from. So now you know.
Okay. Hey, Joe, want to just fetch the questions in the shout out there?
Yes. One question from Daniel Schreiber. He says, what are the best Donkey Kong melodies that you personally have enjoyed making?
For me, the forest interlude. I like that one. Also from Tropical Freeze, I forget what it's called. The Sabagh tune. That's what I know it as.
Yeah.
So it's got a 12/8 kind of feel to it. Ding, 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 ding. And it's got a choir in there as well. I like that one.
The other one here says, it's Max asks, when you're making music for Donkey Kong Country 1 on the Game Boy Color, were there any challenges that came for the team?
Obviously it was like going back to the NES. Fortunately, Mr. Graham Norgate helped me on that one. I'm very pleased he did, because it was quite a challenge going back to just having a very limited system after having the luxury of some samples, and it was never going to sound the same. So we had to adapt again to the hardware really. Mm-hmm. So that's always difficult.
All right. And Music Creator Capable says he listens to a lot of Donkey Kong Country series like covers. What do you think of the covers that have been done in recent years?
Yeah, there's a few out there, isn't there?
There's a lot.
So I mean, it's very humbling that people want to make covers of them, and it's great to hear them in Bonanza as well. And so yeah, it'd be hard to comment on all of them because we'd be here for a few weeks.
For sure. So, that kind of segues into one of my questions. And I think you've been invited to this, correct me if I'm wrong, the concert for Video Games Live, where they play the video game music, the orchestra plays it, and then they have the video game on screen. How are those experiences for you?
They're kind of cool. I mean, it's Tommy Tallarico, done a few with him, which is kind of cool. And it's good that he's promoting video games. It's very, obviously they've got the music, and it's quite structured, and they've got an orchestra playing along as well, which is cool. but yeah, it's fraught with, it's a bit like trying to set up your live stream here. There's so many things to do, and you can't really afford to go wrong. So it's not quite as relaxing to do as one might think it would be. It's you can't really make mistakes, which is part and parcel of being live, is the fact that it's never the same twice. So what we've got some shows coming up. There's one in Norway in a few weeks in Sandefjord on the 15th of August, and then
Nice.
4th and 5th of October we're in Bern in Switzerland. We're playing there as well. So that's Video Games Live. Video Games Rock. There we go. And,
that's so cool. I want to go.
I know.
Is there any, Mr. Wise, is there any chance, are you going to be bringing that back to the United States by any chance, or specifically New York?
If somebody wants to book us, then we'll be happy to get on a flight and come over and do it. I think it'll probably do quite well. Just need somebody to book the show for us. And what it is, it's myself, obviously Kevin. He does a lot of vocals, just graphics that are playing in the background as well. We've got David Doak from 007 fame.
Oh, nice.
playing bass with us. We've got my drummer Nige, and
little super group going on.
Yeah, we've got Phil. Phil played on the Battletoads originally many years ago, and of course we've got Grant Kirkhope playing guitar for us. So it's not so much of a journey for him. So
talk about a super group.
I know.
Well, I think the USP there is that you've got the original developers playing live with some of the tunes, and we've adapted the tunes really for live work. It's different from a video game. It's more for what would you like to listen to if you were live.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I want to go so bad.
So yeah, I mean, we'd love to come over to New York. That'd be great, So if anybody's out there who wants to put on a great show and invite us over, we'll be there. Well,
yeah, because Joe and we went to the Sonic Symphony a couple years ago in New York City, and that was a blast. And I'm just like, I just kept, I'm like, Joe, there's so many like other video game music, concerts I want to go to now.
Yeah, I mean, I love orchestral music. Obviously, it's really emotional. It's cool, but sometimes you just want to rock out, don't you, and jump up and down.
Exactly.
And,
Oh, absolutely.
So that's really where we're coming from with it. It's more of a live rock show than an orchestral show.
Oh, that's so cool.
Now back to the technical side of things a little bit. Now that the equipment is a lot more advanced than it used to be, do you find it easier or harder to compose music for video games now?
It's probably still as hard as it ever was, but it's just different. I think the thing now is that you can spend all that energy on it, and it's a lot more rewarding. It's going to sound nice from right off the bat. Whereas before, just to get it to sound nice took a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So we know if we've chosen the right presets, it's going to sound good. It's then how you use it and how voices interact with each other. So now it's more about the composition. But I quite like the, working on the Super NES, you'd have to, because we were assembling data still, as in, you type it in, assemble it, and off you go again. You had a lot of time to listen to it, and that's a really good way of working. So I still adapt similar methods of working even now to get that same kind of process going.
Now, I know that you said they let you see the levels and stuff before you do it, but how about after, when there's a finished product? Have you been able to play through any of these games, or?
I do. I mainly get my son to play it for me because he's a lot better gamer than I am.
Gotcha.
And also, it's nice to see the finished result as well, because at that point, I normally work on quite a basic version. So by the time they put the music on and they've polished it, it always sounds a lot better when you've got a better level or a better version of the level to hear it along to. And there's something about graphics and there's something about music and fusing them together where they sort of complement each other, so it always sounds better with the game.
Exactly. Agreed.
All right, Mr. Wise, I want to go back to 1994, 1995. So Donkey Kong Country's a hit, and then the sequel is immediately Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest is immediately pushed. So how long was it between the first game and the second game? And obviously, the second game has kind of like is darker, and it's also got the pirate theme going on here. So, Can you take us back to how everything went down for the second game?
So yeah, we didn't really stop between the first one and the second one. We just carried on going. And what I wanted to do was really push the SNES tech that we had to its limits for the second game. Just because I've been using it for a year, and I know I could do a bit more with it. And we had a bit of floating data, so we had a small stack of data, and by stack you can put something on the top and take it off again. And just by having an extra 5K of data, that for me that was brilliant. It just meant I had a lot more sounds to use. 5K, 5K is tiny, you know. It's like a buzz. So yeah, we had that. So it meant I had a bit more flexibility with the soundtrack. Also at the time, I was really into listening to Soviet-style pieces. Composers like Prokofiev and Tchaikovsky, I was really into them. And to be able to do something a bit more orchestral, now I had all this extra memory, 5K of extra memory. So I could use a few more orchestral sounds, and that was nice. And I just wanted to kind of experiment with that. And just see where it went. And also I got a few more synthetic sounds as well at the same time. So which is where obviously not Aquatic Ambience, Sticker Symphony comes from.
Yes, and I think that's Joe's favorite, if I'm not mistaken.
It's up there, yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Favorites for sure.
I think I was going to say, I heard it a lot in lockdown, and there was a thing online on YouTube called Checkpoint, where people used to pour their heart out, you know, about how life was quite sad, and they'd put the music from Sticker Bush in the background. So there we go. It's my claim to fame.
Tune. My favorite tune from the second game is actually I think it's called is it Mine Melancholy with the ding 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 ding, like the mining music that.
Oh yeah, where you're just going up and up and up.
Yeah.
So I've got all these clanks, metallic sounds. So I thought, you know, I'll put a drum beat together with those, and I was just waiting for the right level to come across and to use them on. And they were doing a mining one, so I thought, yeah, that's it. And it's got a bit of a Phil Collins beat as well. Used to love Phil Collins at the time, so played on metallic drums really. So that's where that came from. That was the vibe.
Oh, that's amazing. I always wondered how you came up with that. That's so cool. Now it all makes sense now.
And also that kind of ding, ding, ding was influenced by the Bee Gees of all things. You Win Again, which was playing at the time. So you got a really solid kind of beat that kind of goes along, and it's you know, you could imagine people picking with the pickaxes, chipping stuff out of the coal mine or gold mine.
Oh, that's absolutely genius, man. That was so cool. Same game. How I think it's called the Disco Train, the roller coaster level, that groovy roller coaster level.
Yeah, that came from I think I was in Dartmouth, and I was on a fairground ride that was going round and stuff, and lots of people screaming, and they got this sort of disco music, and that kind of influenced that. To be honest, that's where that came from. That rise and fall of a roller coaster going up and down, and people screaming as they, you know, as you got to the top and fell back down again, with this very strong dance beat in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that track. Joe, any other tracks that come to mind that you want to ask before we kind of like shift?
Geez, they all blend together at this point. Played the game so many times. I've mentioned my favorites already. So, but what are your thoughts on some of the other the great works that are done on some of the games you weren't a part of, like for instance the DK rap?
We play that in Video Games Rock, and
there you go.
So great tune. I mean, it's kind of cheesy. I think Grant would admit that it's cheesy, but sometimes cheesy is brilliant.
Exactly.
It always gets a great response. Definitely one that people like to sing along to.
In fact, when we played it on Twitch, every single time we started the game, we had to do the DK rap before we played.
Again, it's essential. So you can't do a show without the DK rap.
Exactly.
It's just not going to fly. So yeah, great tune, love it, and more importantly, the audience love it as well.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
I got a question real quick. So obviously there was years. I mean, obviously you did the first 2 games, and then you got the invite in the what was it, 2012, 2013 to do the music for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Obviously that's not a Rare game. That was a Retro Studios game. But what was your response when they when they called you to do that game? How'd you feel, and were you excited to go back to Donkey Kong Country all those years later?
Yeah, I was super excited. It was like going home, even though it was going over to Austin in Texas. Similar kind of working arrangement, very keen, enthusiastic, and studio, and really into what they're doing. Very similar to Rare working practices, but I guess that's probably video games in general, especially if it's a Nintendo studio. So yeah, I was super stoked to go and do that, and it gave me a chance to go and make some Donkey Kong Country music more as I heard it originally, using instruments that I couldn't use on the
more
Super
freedom,
NES.
yeah,
exactly. Which is where it comes from, so if you're going to play some, some music on a keyboard that you spend a lot of money on, it's nice to be able to include them in the game. So sounds that excite me, I can actually put in there, and it sounds how I imagine it would be.
Awesome. And what was some of the kind of same question here, but there's some songs that were that you reused for the Tropical Freeze, some of the underwater, not the Aquatic Ambience, but some of the underwater themes and the pirate themes that you kind of reused. So what was the approach there? I know you said you had a little bit more freedom, but what was it like to I don't know, since you had more freedom, but you wanted to make it more epic? How did that go down and whatnot when you were doing some of the older tunes for that that you've done before?
Yeah, so it was nice to remix them. So you take an original tune and perhaps do it more like you might have imagined it could have been 15 years previously. But to make it more epic, you've got more room for bigger chords, and then you can use choirs. It's always nice to use a big choir in the background. That always sounds cool. And then bigger instruments as well, bigger synth sounds and things. It's so epic, big brass sounds as well, which I quite like.
Okay, now my next question, this I want to tie in with all the Donkey Kong games. And I'm surprised it took us this long to get to it, but I have to ask. Boss theme music. So obviously your boss themes are really, really iconic. So how'd you when you saw the gameplay of these giant animals that Donkey Kong's fighting against, and this is for all the games, how'd you come up with what inspired you to come up with these boss theme songs for all these games?
So I probably relate heavy metal music to boss themes. It's cool. I like a bit of metal.
Yeah.
And I think for the first one, we've been down to a trade show. It was a recording trade show, and it was quite stale and boring, really. Lots of 8-track recorders, and although at that very same show, I was sat next to this chap called George Martin. I was looking at a Tascam Porter studio, and this mature gentleman came over. I was still quite young at the time, and he started talking to me. Probably chatted away for 15 minutes, and at the end, this very excited young salesman came across and said, "Have you got any?" I mean, young, he was older than me, but so he said, "Have you got any idea who you've just been talking to for the last 15 minutes?" So I was like, no idea at all. He said, "It's only George Martin from he produced the Beatles." So
Wow.
at the very same trade show, there was a Nico McBrain drum clinic. And he was there.
Yeah, Iron Maiden, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He was there with the rest of the band apart from the singer. And there's probably, I don't know, 50 people in the room max, and I was 20 feet away from the stage. You know, it was epic. You know, we've got Iron Maiden in front of me playing away, and that really influenced that. I forget the name of the boss theme in the first game, but that one.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Gangplank
it's called Big Bad Boss Theme or something like that. I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember something like that. Sorry, memory doesn't serve right now.
Yeah, I think it might be called
boss theme.
Gangplank Gallon. Does that ring a bell? I think it's the first game.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
rule. Yeah.
yeah, so that ding 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 ding, it was very Iron Maidenish. So that was the big influence there.
Oh, okay, that's so damn cool.
And also those dual harmonies as well. That's really important. You know, if you're going to have a game with guitars, you know, those dual 80s harmonies are really important. That moment of Whitesnake.
Yeah. Listen, we do respect everybody's time here. I know it's getting late over there in the United Kingdom, so we'll start wrapping up here in a few. But Joe, do you have any other questions before we kind of like wrap up here? Because you know, obviously, you know, he's given us an hour. But anything else that comes to mind? Because I do have one last question.
You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess as we kind of segue to close here, Mr. Wise, I have not played ukulele yet. I've been kind of holding off on ukulele because of the ukulele replay, and I know there's been. I don't want to go into the details here, but I know there's some stuff going on at Platonic Games. I know we're waiting for the replay to come out. But my question is, and I will play the game. I want to wait for the replay. Did you redo the music for Replay E, or did they keep the same music, or what do they do with the music for the game for ukulele and Replay?
I mean, for ukulele. Most of the music is by Grant Kirkhope. I've done a few tracks, and Steve Burke did a few tracks as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they haven't upgraded any of, or at least I haven't anyway. The musicians who work there might have done. I've got no idea. So my involvement with that game is pretty minimal.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I know you were listed on there, so I didn't know how much you had your hands on the music for that game.
No, it's not me. It's not my puppy, that one.
Oh, okay. Sorry, all right, my mistake. I thought, because I know, because you know most of the Platonic guys, you know, Kev Bales and all those guys. I know a lot of those guys from the rare days are involved. It's
Dan and Matthew who are the composers there, and if they've done any upgrades to it, they'll have done the remixing for it. As far as I understand, some of the more orchestral pieces, Grant's gone and done something with an orchestra, so that will sound a bit bigger.
Okay.
A bit smoother.
And another question I have as well is there any games or game franchises that like are on your personal wish list that you would like to do music for?
Well, yeah, there's loads. But it's one of those things. If you say, "Oh, I really want to do it," then you know it would be very disingenuous to say that I want to do it, and then it could get twisted. So to save any uncomfortable conversations, you know, if somebody, you know, someone's got a great game and needs some Dave Wise music, then give me a shout. I'd love to.
Excellent. Yeah. And I know you said you got stuff in the works here. I know we, you know, obviously for legal reasons we can't get into that. Is there? Okay, but I know you said you got the live shows coming up in Norway and whatnot. Is there any other upcoming let me ask you this: do you have any music or albums that you're working on that's coming out soon, or do you have any other collaborations you're working on?
Well, the last game I did was called Nico de Rico, which is by VEA Games. So that's got quite a recent. Well, I say recent. I actually did it in lockdown. So sometimes games take a little while to come through and get released. Yeah. But yeah, I'm still working on a version of Battletoads. I'm doing a kind of re-release of that.
Nice.
Just going back to that kind of rock thing, and then after that, I'm going to do or finish a game. Well, not a game, a soundtrack called Salamandos with Kevin Bayliss.
Oh, so cool.
So it's in the same kind of amphibious vein. Definitely 80s keyboards, big hair, that kind of stuff, saxophones, you know, that kind of stuff. Lots of guitar. We've got Grant on those two as well, so that should be quite cool.
Very nice. All right, so everybody in the chat, the bar is closing. So this is last call. Bar's closing. So anybody have last minute questions you want to ask Mr. Wise? Now's your chance. Joe, do you have any last minute question? Anything else that just came to mind you want to ask?
I think I'm gonna leave the audience wanting more. So
Okay.
I'm
Sounds good to me. As we wrap up here, Mr. Wise, I asked this question to everybody that comes on NerdCage Live, and I'm putting you on the spot, because we're here doing a live stream. But this has been fun. I have so many more questions I want to get to some other songs and other games. But Mr. Wise, if the stars align again, would you like to come back on NerdCage Live for more discussion?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to come back once perhaps some of these other projects have come to fruition, and maybe the albums are out and you've had a listen to them, and there's something a bit more solid to plug. But at the moment, I'm wrapped up in NDA land, so non-disclosure agreements.
Absolutely, yeah. When stuff comes out, we'd love to break it down and have a conversation about it. That'd be a lot of fun. And just real quick, Mr. Wise, for people who want to check out your music, say on Spotify, Apple Music, and just want to tell people where they can find your music and tell everybody where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, I think the best place to find it is probably on YouTube. Twitter is David_Wise. Instagram, mad_dog_Dave, Mad Dog Dave, which is a nickname I used to have from playing in a band years and years and years ago.
Nice.
And it'll be something similar to David Wise on YouTube, if anyone still uses YouTube, I'm not sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll add the YouTube link into the description there as well. All right, but hey, Mr. Wise, thanks so much for your time and everything. Joe, real quick, let's just plug. We're gonna be back on Twitch tonight, Joe, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, for more Donkey Kong Bonanza.
And then Monday, guys, it's spoiler discussion.
Yeah, spoiler discussion of Fantastic Four: First Steps.
And of course, next Thursday, Joe.
Yes, Hyle Russell of The Conversation will be on the show to talk all things DK Bonanza.
Yeah, Mr. Wise, you know Hyle, right, from DK Vine Conversation?
I'm sure I probably do, but me and names and faces are things that never go well together.
Yeah. Well, I know he's done interviews with some of the people from Rare, so I figured you knew him. So, but yeah, Hyle Russell.
I'm sure. I have no doubt that over the years I will have run into him at some point.
Yeah. We're excited to we're having him next week to talk about DK Bonanza and whatnot. Speaking of DK Bonanza, have you how much of it have you played it yet, or?
I haven't played it yet, and I hope to at some point. I need to get myself a new version of the Switch 2, which would be cool, and then I can play it. But I've still got a whole background list of games I really want to play on the original Switch, so I'll get around to it one day.
Yeah, I'll just say it real quick before we go. When you play Donkey Kong Bonanza, there's these bonus levels where they call nostalgic. But anyway, they do these bonus levels where it's old school Donkey Kong country, and once again,
yeah, side scroller.
Yeah, it's side scroller, and once again we hear a new moderation of jungle hijinks. So just so you know, they're still using your music, and it still sounds amazing. And I just want to let you know that it's very your presence is very prominent in Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I look forward to hearing it. I mean, the good thing about Nintendo is, on the whole, they always do good music. So I'm looking forward to hearing the versions at some point.
And Mr. Wise, I just want to say this in front of everybody. I've said it publicly, but I'm going to say it again. Mr. Wise, as far as I'm concerned, you're a you're a brilliant musician. I love what you do. Your music's part of my life every day, not just in gaming, but in life in general. Your music gets me through the day, helps me go to sleep, all that good stuff. And I mean that in a good way. I'm not saying you bore me to sleep. I'm saying your music relaxes me. But also, I just want to let you know that Joe and I think you are on the Mount Rushmore of the greatest video game composers of all time. There's no question, man. Everybody knows that Donkey Kong country music's godlike. You are on the Mount Rushmore of video game composers.
No, I'm slightly embarrassed, but thank you very much. So, very kind of you to say.
Yeah, it's been a real honor, and like I said, I'm 38 years old, man, and since I was 8 years old, 8 years old playing Donkey Kong Country, I just can't believe all these years later, I get to talk to you about it, man. So this has been a real honor. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
And likewise,
back.
Thank you for inviting me on. It's been great to talk to you. And next time we'll probably talk about what's going on.
Yeah,
there we go.
Absolutely. Hopefully we get to catch you live and we can hang out and stuff too.
That'd be cool. Excellent. Yeah. So you need to get onto some people, organize a gig in New York for VideoGamesRock.me.
I think we can find a way.
Thank you.
Think we can find
that's
a way.
great. I look forward to it. So there must be somebody in New York who wants a great video game band with the
guaranteed
original developers in there.
All right. Well, hey, thank you to everybody in the chat. This has been absolutely fun. Again, subscribe to NerdCage Live. We are so close to 5,000 subscribers. And, of course, be sure to give Mr. Wise a follow on social media. Check out his music wherever you stream music and whatever games you play. Check out all his work here. And I think we're good to go here. So we pay attention to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. Spread it like the banana gems and Donkey Kong Bonanza. So the USA from York Street to land of New York to Syracuse, New York, to all of our friends and fans around the world at NerdCage Live and NerdCage Live Gaming. As always, enjoy life, stay safe, eat your vegetables, do your push-ups, keep playing Donkey Kong. Good night, God bless, and have the best day of your life.
Good night.
Okay, that's it then.
NerdCage Live and gaming are a perfect match.
Shoot the J, Joe. Okay. Shoot it!
All right.
Over on NerdCage Live on Twitch, Jay and Joe go live.
Call me Bazooka Joe.
It's all about you.
Kaboom! Playing both old school and new school games every Tuesday night. Ooh, what a sight!
Jay, stop looking at her face and run.
But she's so beautiful.
So be sure to follow NerdCage Live on Twitch.
Run for your life, Joe. Run for your life, Joe.
Running.
Run faster. Oh no, Joe. The galaxy's doomed because of you.
To scratch your gaming itch.
Oh, nice kick, Joe.
Thank you.
Yo, that's diabolical. Wait. Yo!
That's twitch.tv/NerdCage Live.
Ooh, trying to get out of the nerd cage, are ya? Well, before you go, hit that subscribe button. And if you're really intrigued, ring that bell. Thank you for dropping by. Until next time, tell everyone you know about NerdCage Live!